Hey guys, Brian from Boas here. Spring is in the air and the boa shipping window has opened once again. So I'm shipping boas now. I'm getting a lot of interest from you guys and questions about my boa shipping and my boa sales. Today I just wanted to briefly review my terms of sale. If you're thinking about getting a boa from me or anyone, or just interested in how boa sales work, be sure to stay tuned. So as I mentioned, I'm shipping again. Shipped out 5 packages earlier this week. They all are in their new homes now. Really happy. That's actually the number one most satisfying part of breeding boas, is when I ship them to their new homes. I mean, it's great when they're born, it's great when they sell, but when they go to that new owner and I get an email saying that the new owner loves the boa, it's just, this is exactly why I do this, to spread the love and happiness that these animals provide to all of you guys. So hopefully, if you don't have any of my boas already, one is in your future. I actually have quite a few boas remaining from the 2022 season. In particular, I have quite a few Surinames and longtail or longicata boas like this one. This is actually a 2021 animal. This is a 2-year-old, but I've got some yearlings available. So just look how beautiful this guy is. The dark colors coming in. And just a great pet boa to work with, the longtail or longicata boa. So I just wanted to briefly review my terms of sale, and this document is available. If you go to the links below this video description, you can click on it, you can read it, and it's all the details. You can ask any questions you have. Basically, I have all of my buyers look at this document before buying a boa from me, just so they can read the terms and provide any questions that they have, and I can get them answered up front, just so that everybody knows what they're getting into. If you are selling boas of your own, I would highly recommend you make a document like this, just so everything is clear in writing, so that if things go south after the sale, you have something to fall back on, because verbal agreements are basically worthless. This, at least you have it in writing. Okay, so my terms of sale. So the first is the availability of animals, and I get this question a lot, particularly about if I do waiting lists, can you put me on my name on the list? I'm interested in a fire belly boa, put my name on the list. I don't have lists. I don't keep lists. It's just way too much for me to keep track of. It's a lot just keeping track of all my boas and planning the breedings, things like that. I can't keep track of people who want all these boas. So if you're interested in a boa, watch the channel, watch what I'm doing. I make these videos to update you guys on exactly what's going on. It's the best source for up-to-date information on my boa breeding. I can tell you I hopefully will have fire bellies in 2024. I can't guarantee this. And, I've been pretty open with what I'm working on this year as far as boa breeding. And in fact, I'll have an update video soon about my gravid females, but I can't guarantee at this point exactly what I'm going to have a few months from now. I think it's going to be a really good 2023 baby boa birthing season, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to have, this boa or that boa. I just have to see what happens. So it's all first come, first serve. I don't do any waiting lists. It's just, too much of a hassle. And then some people actually are charging deposits ahead of time for waiting lists. But then what happens if the boas aren't born? Or what happens if you've got you only have 5 boas in that litter, but you got 10 people that want the boa, and then you got their money. And then it's really awkward because you're holding on to someone's money, and I wouldn't want someone else holding on to my money. So I don't want to be holding on to anybody's money unless they have the product. So first come, first serve. Okay, photos. So I always put photos of my animals. I have a Flickr site where I put photos of the available animals. You can actually see that at the link below the video description. And sometimes people will ask for more photos. They want to see something specific. And I try to accommodate this within limits, okay? So certain people seem to kind of abuse this, and they just want more and more photos. And really, a photo is, a two-dimensional electronic representation of the boa. It's not the boa. You're never going to get the full boa experience from the photo. There's just inherent limitations. But you should have a pretty good idea, looking at the photo, what the boa looks like. And I try to provide really clear photos from multiple angles. But if you're the guy who's going to put a 25% deposit on a BOA, and then you're going to request update photos every other day, I unfortunately I can't make that happen. So there's a limit to the number of photos I can provide. Okay, payment. Payment is by check or money order. I know for some of you guys this is a little old school. Some of you guys maybe have a checkbook that you haven't opened in 10 years, and maybe you could get it out and write me a check if you want, send it in the mail. I'm a kind of an old school guy. I remember back in the 80s, the first thing I ever bought in the mail was coins from a magazine ad. And 8 years old, I would have my mother write me a check to the coin seller. I'd get like these wheat pennies, and I would send the check off in the mail, and then who knows when it would come. Typically it probably came 3-4 weeks later, but I had no idea when it was coming. It was part of the excitement, looking at the mailbox, wondering if it's going to be there that day, not knowing exactly when it was going to be there. Now everybody wants instant gratification. We want to know everything about everything. We want tracking. We want to know exactly where the package is at all times. It's kind of taking a lot of the fun out of it. So as far as payment, a lot of people have asked, do I take PayPal? Do I take electronic payments? The answer to this is no. And I'll tell you the reason why. I did take PayPal for a while, and it seemed to work okay. It had some disadvantages, but I kept reading all these horror stories about people that just got royally screwed by PayPal. Basically, PayPal takes the money, and they can hold on to the money for whatever reason they deem necessary, and people would have their accounts locked up, and there would be literally tens of thousands of dollars they couldn't access because of some BS reason that PayPal deemed was legitimate. So there's all kinds of horror stories. You can just go to the internet if you want to read some of them. And I actually heard from people that warned me, eventually you're going to get screwed by PayPal. Luckily, it didn't happen, but I was really kind of worried. And anytime someone paid by PayPal, I went and immediately transferred the funds out of the PayPal account into my bank account. And usually they would sit on it for like a week. I don't know why, because they can just transfer it instantly, but I guess they're just, using the money to get interest or something, which is kind of, not very legitimate. But the final straw, which made me swear off PayPal forever, which sounds so egregious it's almost unbelievable, was something that they pulled last year, where they decided they were going to give a $2,500 fine for any spread of what they deemed to be misinformation. Okay, so this is whatever misinformation. I guess maybe this is like political misinformation. Someone has an opinion they don't agree with. Maybe if I express in my video that, a boa constrictor can be a pet for a child as a first pet, maybe they don't agree with that. That's misinformation. They're going to fine me. It's just very scary that something that's like a financial service decides that they have the right to fine you $2,500 for whatever reason they see fit. And they're the judge and the jury as well. Imagine if your mortgage bank decided to fine you for misinformation. It's just, what the hell is this? I mean, it's almost unbelievable that a company would have the gall to try to do something like that. So when I heard about this, which I was in shock, I immediately canceled my PayPal account. I will never do business with them again. If you have a PayPal account, I highly recommend you cancel it right now, because it's just a totally unscrupulous and unethical company. So I don't take PayPal, I don't take electronic check or money order. Another reason for this is, anybody can get a credit card and they can charge it out to the limit and incur all kinds of debt. Just a really bad idea. And if you have BOAs, you don't want to be in debt. You want to have money lying around in case you have an emergency, you have to take a BOA to the vet, you need some, emergency supplies. So I don't want to be selling BOAs to people that rely on credit cards that can't come up with the cash up front. So that's another reason why I don't do credit card payments and rely on check or money order. If you don't have a checkbook, there's the postal money orders are really easy to get just at the post office, and you can just send them to me. But like I said, a check is really easy. It's relatively safe. If you do send a check in the mail and it gets lost, you can always have the bank cancel the check itself. A lot of people send it by priority mail, or express mail, which costs like 30 bucks with tracking and all this other stuff. It's really not necessary. You can just put it into a envelope, mail it first class to me. It will get here, so you don't have to worry about spending all this extra money to the post office. All right, payment plan. So I typically don't do payment plans. I do them in some cases, like over the winter if I'm not shipping boas. You know, you don't have to pay me the whole price up front. You can pay a 25% deposit to hold the boa. In some cases, for more expensive boas, I can also do the same type of arrangement. Just, you know, reach out to me, let me know what you have in mind, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Again, the payment plan, part of the reason is that if you can't come up with the full price of the boa up front, you know, you don't have that much cash in reserve, maybe you should think twice about getting a boa as a pet, because there's going to be a lot of expenses potentially down the road to take care of it. Okay, packing. So I pride myself in packing and shipping boas. You know, the safety is the first concern of the boas, and they're packed up in styrofoam lined containers with heat packs if necessary. Everything is tracked. The boa is within a container, either a bag or like a deli style container, surrounded by packaging within the styrofoam box in the cardboard box. So it's a really secure container. Typically the boa is only in transit for about 20 hours or so between when I drop it off at the FedEx ship center in the afternoon Pacific time and when it gets to your ship center in the morning, you know, whatever your time zone is. And I always ship to the FedEx ship center. I don't ship directly to your house. The reason why is because it's just safer for the boas. That way the boa is not on the truck, the FedEx truck going to your house. And although I haven't had any negative experiences from this, I've heard stories, and I know that the FedEx trucks are not really air conditioned, especially in the summer. So it can be like 100 degrees in the back of that truck, and believe me, the boa, you know, should not be in that condition. I should also mention that shipping might be on hold depending on the weather conditions. And as you know, I wasn't shipping from late December to about February or so. And then it got warm enough in some of the places in the country. Now is a really good time. Now I can ship pretty much the entire country. And shipping is going to be good for the next few months. And then it's going to be a little bit too hot in some places. But reach out to me. I can look up the weather. I can let you know when the shipping window will open for your neck of the woods. Also, rest assured that I keep in very close communication with my customers about shipping. I'm not just going to ship it and not let you know. I'm going to work out with you a date that works for you, where you can go to the FedEx Ship Center and pick up your animal. And live and healthy delivery is guaranteed, provided that you go to the FedEx Ship Center on the day that we agreed on and pick up the animal. So, you know, the safety of my animals is the #1 priority, and I've had really good success with shipping them. It's really not something that you need to worry about. A lot of people who haven't had a reptile shipped to them before are a little bit apprehensive, but it's a real smooth experience, and you know, I guarantee satisfaction. Thought I'd grab another animal, and this is a 2019 Florida Red Tails True to Hope Bloodline Suriname, known as Mr. Pink. You know, a really nice Suriname Red Tail, one of my favorites, and great one to take out for these videos because he's so chill, much more chill than most of my Surinames. Okay, so next on the list, all sales are final. I don't accept returns on animals, so just be sure that you want the animal before you buy the animal, because it's really a lot to ship the animal out. It's kind of expensive, it's stressful on the animal, and you know, shipping an animal back to me would be even more stress, even more expense. The main reason is I have a closed collection. I don't have any animals coming in here. I want to minimize the chance of any kind of parasite or disease coming into my collection. And if I had an animal coming in, it would have to go through a quarantine procedure. I just don't want to do that to my animal. So just be sure that you're happy, you know, you really want the animal ahead of time. If you're confused about whether you want the animal or not, just let me know. I can talk to you about the animal. I can go over the care and what it needs, send you pictures, just so that you're sure that this is the boa you want to add to your collection. Okay, so commitment. I'm 100% committed to making this any kind of buying, selling interaction between us 100% satisfactory. I want this to be the best experience you've had with a boa seller. And I'll do whatever I can to make that happen. I'm not just a boa seller. I'm basically selling the lifestyle of keeping boas. And that's kind of why I have this channel. You can watch about the boas. You can see what I have going on. You can, if you want, you can add some of them to your collection. You can start your own breeding based on information that you get from this channel and other sources. And I'm also completely free and transparent with my information. I want people to have this so they can breed these animals and they can continue the hobby so that future generations can enjoy these amazing reptiles. Any questions you have, I always answer. I do my best to provide all this information. I have to say, though, ultimately the care of the boa is your responsibility, so please do your research ahead of time. Know what you're getting, know the necessary care for the particular animal, know what types of husbandry supplies you're going to need, what types of food, etc., what types of environmental conditions that you're going to need to provide. And please be prepared to provide these conditions before the boa arrives. Again, there's a lot of information on this channel about boa husbandry, setting up enclosures, the types of supplies you're going to need, how to feed boas, things like that. So don't just buy a boa without knowing kind of what you're getting into. So those are my terms of sale, and again, you can review them at the link below the video description. If there's something that I missed that you are curious about and would like to know before deciding if you're going to get one of my boas, just reach out to me and I'll answer the question. And if it applies to everybody, I'll also share this question in the channel or in comments, things like that. I tried to cover everything, but there's always things I didn't think of that you might be wondering about. And as I mentioned, I still have some animals from 2022, really nice animals. They have put on some decent size by now, really well established animals. With the Surinames, sometimes they're a little bit delicate for the first 6 months or so, but these animals by now have eaten, probably about 24 times or so. They're putting on size and they're past that really delicate stage. So some really nice top quality animals if you're looking to add a boa to your collection. And the link to the Flickr site with the pictures and information about available animals is below the video description. So I hope this video was helpful. Shoot me any questions that you have that I didn't cover in the video. Thanks for watching and enjoy your boas.